Hi, Genevieve Jacobs from Region Media with this week's news update, which comes from the Craft ACT galleries. Now, Design Canberra has been one of Canberra's huge successes in recent years. It's grown very, very rapidly, but of course the pandemic had put a halt to all sorts of exciting things that were planned. Not to be deterred, some wonderful events that are pandemic possible have grown from the event, including a terrific auction that's being held here on Saturday night. But it's part of a wider program called Nurture. Jodie Cunningham's the director of Craft ACT. Jodie, talk to us about Nurture and what the bigger idea here is.
So Genevieve, we were really conscious that everyone's been doing it very tough this year, and particularly our artists and our artist members. And the festival normally supports the arts in such a wonderful way, supporting over 510 artists and bringing in a lot of income. And we wanted to make sure that we were looking after our artists who were doing it quite tough. Exhibitions had been cancelled, income had been not coming in. So we thought, why not run our auction that we normally do every year as part of Design Canberra, but run the auction and get all the proceeds to go directly to the artists. So the Nurture program is bigger than the auction though. We've got mindful making workshops, professional development workshops for artists, and workshops for the public to participate in, and it's been really successful. We've had smaller programs where a small number of people can come in and safely social distance and work with artists to actually engage in craft and making activities which have been scientifically proven to be really good for your health. So.
Yeah. And very warm, very inclusive, very nurturing. Sonia van der Haag's one of the artists whose work is featuring in this auction. It's behind me on the wall. Sonia, tell me about these gorgeous images, which are really geometric, filled with colour. But what are we looking at?
Thank you, Genevieve. So my project's called Brutal Transformations, and it was designed as part of the Design Canberra Festival, whose theme was transformations. And so my project is all about looking at brutalist buildings in Canberra and reimagining them as if they were coloured. Like, what would I do? So my work generally is all about architecture and colour and the spatial effects that colour can produce and the emotional effects of colour on a large scale. And Canberra has so many amazing buildings ripe for transformation in terms of, you know, many of these buildings are kind of at the end of their like super good life. They're getting demolished, some of them, and I'm a big advocate for adaptive reuse of these structures. So I wanted to do a kind of project for my own interest, but play with some of the incredible architecture and apply colour.
These are beautiful works. These are, in fact, Campbell Park, yes. The offices at Campbell Park. People might be really familiar with brutalist architecture in form of the National Gallery, which is, of course, Cole Madigan's really famous work. Yes. But brutalism as you have never imagined it before, the intersecting planes of concrete in vivid, rich, living colour. Also behind us, another great Canberra icon, and that is the Fink jug, known and beloved across Canberra. It's one of our great treasures. Gretel Harrison is with me, and Gretel is from Fink & Co. Gretel, this is a particularly special jug. It's part of a very limited series.
Yes, we only made a total of 50. It was a jug that was made for the 50th anniversary of Craft ACT, which is this year. Craft ACT came to us after we had the collaborative jug project here last year as part of lockdown, and they asked us to create a jug that would be in memory of both Robert Foster, who's the founder of Fink, who's no longer with us, and also of Craft ACT. So the idea of the colour, of course, being gold, being 50, has to be an absolute must. And then to come up with some sort of surface texture that was going to make it unique within itself. And we did a number of different reiterations, and we came up with this one. And it was not as easy as what it looks.
So this is an absolutely glorious project. We've got two beautiful, colourful, deeply Canberran pieces of art. Jodie, how do people get involved with the auction on Saturday night?
Right, so the auction actually opens at 9 a.m. on Saturday. It's an online auction. Only one item will be auctioned live, and that is the wonderful Fink jug. When we sold the other jugs, they sold out within a couple of minutes, so this is the last remaining jug. And so people can sign up via the Design Canberra Festival website, so designcanberrafestival.com, and there are links through. But we also welcome people to come to the live event on Saturday night from 6 to 7:30 p.m. and have a drink and look at some of the items that will be on auction, and then get bidding online to get their fantastic artwork. So there are over 70 artworks in the auction, which is really exciting, way bigger than previous years. And again, the intention with that is to make sure that our artists are being looked after. So dig deep, bid hard, and have a great night on Saturday night.
Look, it sounds like an amazing, amazing event for art lovers. And of course, there's lots more detail about Nurture and the ongoing program with Design Canberra as well. Also making news this week on the website, we've been talking about the kayak cameraman who's moving on. Lots of response to Paul Durack's beautiful photographs of the lake. Again, very iconic of Canberra. James Coleman's written about what it was like to have a Porsche EV for the weekend. He said, a bit of a struggle actually. Now this is a story that involves 4 extension cords and his neighbour's PowerPoint. So go to the site and read what happened when a humble Queanbeyan dweller took the Porsche EV home. We've been talking about COVID too, and the news that if you haven't got COVID symptoms but need to get tested as a precaution, you may well be asked to pay, and those tests evidently not available any longer from government health centres. And we've questioned why anyone would park in front of your bins on bin night. Damien Larkins has had this experience more than once. In an otherwise totally empty street, he puts his bins out, and in the morning someone's car is in front of them. Enter into that big Canberra conversation and many others. We've got a weekly newsletter that drops into your inbox every week, every Thursday, so join up. Get involved in the great big Canberra conversation. We've also got a daily digest. It's all part of the way we knit Canberra together. I'm Genevieve Jacobs, and this is Region Media.